Okay, so here we are again. So the second part here is we're kind of going to set up a crouch. So you always design around your move set. So you can sometimes you do tend to add more moves afterwards, but initially you tend to lay out your move set almost every time, so that you know how to design your levels. So in this case, I've designed around a sprint and a crouch. So Unreal actually does have a crouch built in. So I didn't know this as I'm relatively new to the software. So first thing we need to do, I want to set up a crouch. So I'm just going to put action mapping. So this is an input effectively. So I need to set up a key and I need to give it a name. So I think probably if it's crouch, I'm going to give it the name Crouchu. Try that again, crouch. So basically I need to give it a key. I want to give it the C key. You can press type C in and then hunt for it, but that never seems to work for me, as in it just selects millions of words with the letter C in them. So there we are, C. That's all good. Happy days. So let's go back. In the first person character, we're going to look in the event graph, which is running all the functionality of that character. So I'm trying to on key press as opposed to comment. Okay, so it's input action events crouch. Okay, so when you press so that's basically calling the input action, and so when you press it, we need to tell it what it needs to do. So we're going to so really this is adding a local offset to the camera. So this is quite a specific command that means that I'm just going to basically move the camera down, so when you crouch the camera snaps down. I think that this isn't the most efficient method, but again it's kind of just a different way of doing things, so I suppose in that respect it could be quite useful. So I'm just trying to kind of put in a value, a minus value that takes the Z, so I'm taking it down minus 50. So we've got the firing pins are running, so we also want to turn it off when it's released, so you have to hold down C. So the first person camera is the target. So the first person camera, it's automatically brought that in as the object we are referencing, because I put add local offset to camera. So the camera is effectively attached obviously to the other elements of the first person controller. So if we press C there, we're moving up and down. It's a bit smelly, and that's quite simply because we're not lerping it or doing any of the nice things that we should be doing, but it works, and that for the purposes of this prototype is all we need really. So the other thing I want to do is that I basically I'm just going to check with regards to crouching. I just want to make sure that we'll see that the cylinder hasn't been reduced in size. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly build a something to crouch under. Now this is what I call level design. Okay, so if I crouch and push forward, I can't move through that under that block, and that's because my camera has moved down, but I've still got my capsule collider, which is normal height, so it's not changing the height of that capsule collider. So we need to do that as well. So the capsule component, I've just selected up top left. So set capsule half height. So that's it's automatically taken the reference to the capsule component. That's because I had it selected. So the capsule component is what we're attempting to adjust. So I don't know why it calls it the half height, but if you look over in the details panel, the normal, well, so what's calling the half height is actually the height of when you're standing up. So we want to make it about half of that. So let's try 40. And again, we want to make sure that it resets back to the normal value, which is 96, once you let go of the button. Yeah, attach the firing pins, otherwise nothing will happen. Okay, so let's give it a go. So horrible crouching, can't quite get underneath it, but I can see that that may be because the block is slightly too low. Just try it again. Tension is enormous. Amazing. So when you release crouch and you're underneath it, I think that stops you moving, but so that's something you need to look into, but I think we're going to replace that crouch anyway.